HCI design rules, guidelines, and evaluation techniques. We are going to start this part of HCI from today. Let us see the first principle, that is usability. Usability is the principle which will going to focus on the main focus will be on the user. How much your system is usable, that will be the main concern of this principle, your usability principle. How much user is user friendly with your system, how your system is user friendly, whether it is easily accessible or not, everything will come under your what, this usability factor. The principles that support usability are divided into three main categories. Number one, learnability means what? The ease with which new users can begin effective interaction and achieve maximal performance. What exactly the learnability is? Learnability is basically useful for the new users because every time new user will be in learning phase or it will be in learning states. That's why the learnability principle will be the mainly concern with your new users, that the new user can begin effective interaction with the system and that user can achieve maximum performance or maximum output is the first category of your principle. Second one is your flexibility, the multiplicity of ways in which the user and system exchange information. We always say that it is very flexible, it is very flexible, the system is very flexible. What is the meaning of flexibility? The flexibility is nothing but the multiplicity or having multiple ways for what the user and system can exchange the information. That means there can be the multiple ways for the user and system to exchange the information. There should not be always only one channel, or there should not always be a single channel for information exchange. That information exchange may happen by multiple ways, and that is nothing but your flexibility. And the third one is your robustness, the level of support provided to the user in determining successful achievement and assessment of goal. Robustness means what? When this word comes into the picture, it will always be in terms of number. The level of support provided to the user. What is robustness? Here, the support is provided to the user. Up to which level the support is provided to the user? Why to provide the support? For determining successful achievement and assessment of goal. Whatever goal you have decided, whether you are achieving that goal, whether you are assessing those goal, that is, you are giving the support in achieving the goal is nothing but your what? Robustness. So these are the three main categories in which the principles are divided. The principles that affecting your first category, that is learnability. Which are the sub principles or which principles affect your learnability is: number one, predictability, synthesizability, familiarity, generalizability, and consistency. The name or its definition is giving in front of each and every principle, and with which principle it is related is also mentioned at the rightmost side. So the first principle is your predictability. Means what? You are going to predict. Here the main thing is prediction, and the prediction is nothing but your what? Future action. So predictability supports what exactly it is? It is a support for the user to determine the effect of future action based on past interaction history. Predictability में क्या होगा? पास्ट इंटरेक्शन जो भी हुआ है उसका रिजल्ट कंसिडर करके फ्यूचर में क्या होगा वो प्रेडिक्ट करना, दैट इज नथिंग बट प्रेडिक्टेबिलिटी. Synthesizability means what? Synthesizability is nothing but the support for the user to assess the effect of past operation on the current state. पास्ट ऑपरेशन हमने जो कुछ भी किए हैं उन पास्ट ऑपरेशन के बेसिस पे करंट स्टेट पे उसका क्या इफेक्ट होगा वो असेस करना इज नथिंग बट योर व्हाट सिंथेसाइजेबिलिटी. Next is familiarity. How much user is familiar with the system or with the real world or the computer based domain is nothing but your familiarity. Generalizability means what? The system should be generalizable. That means any user can access your system. Generalizability is a principle that support for the user to extend knowledge of specific interaction within and across application to other similar situation. That is, we are considering what your general scenario is nothing but your generalizability. Then next is your consistency. Consistency means what? Whether you are getting the consistent output or not. आपका system consistently work हो रहा है या नहीं. That is nothing but your what? Consistency. Likeness in input output behavior arising from similar situations or similar task objective is nothing but your consistency. And these principles are related with these principles. Then second is principles affecting flexibility. Second category is your flexibility. So which are the various principles that affect the flexibility of the system? Number one, dialogue initiative, multi-threading, task, migratability, substitutivity, and customizability. These are again sub principles that are going to affect the major principle of your flexibility. And if you will read their definition, you will come to know what exactly that principle is. Just for an example, multi-threading. What is multi-threading? Ability of a system to support user interaction pertaining to more than one task at a time. As you know, multi-threading or multitasking is doing multiple activities at a time. The same thing is mentioned here. Likewise, your all these principles are defined here, and all these principles affect the flexibility of the system. Then third one is your principles, those are affect to the robustness. These are the again some principles that affects robustness. Observability, recoverability, responsiveness, and task conformance. Let's see the first one. You are suppose if we consider observable means what? We are going to observe the system, how the system is performing, ability of the user to evaluate the internal state of the system from its perceivable representation. That means what? Observation is done here in case of your what? This kind of principle. Then recoverability means what? Ability of the user to take corrective action once an error has been recognized. If you get the error, what action should be taken is nothing but how you are going to recover the system is nothing but recoverability. So these are the some principles that affect your main principles. Now, what are the different design guidelines? Let us see various design guidelines. Number one, sorry, not number one. The basic categories of Smith and Mosier guidelines are these are the or these two scientists defined some guidelines. Those guidelines are related with your designing of the system, how the system should be or what the system design should consist of. It is defined by these two people. Number one, it is related with the data entry, data display, sequence control, user guidance, data transmission, data protection. So what exactly the data entry is? How your data should be entered in the database or how your data should be enter at the server side. That is defined in this category of your data entry. So this first category is basically related with your what? Everything related with data entry operation. While entering the data, what should be the type of data? How much size should be allocated to each and every type of data. It is mentioned in your data entry. Then second one is data display, how the data should be displayed, whether it should be displayed in tabular form, whether it should be displayed in graphical form, whether it should be displayed in axis form, x axis and y axis. Everything related with the data display is mentioned in this category. Then next one is your sequence control. What exactly the sequence control? How to control the sequence, how your data should be displayed, what should be the sequence, that sequence should be controlled. Then there should be proper user guidance. User guidance is basically for those users who are not familiar with the system or who are using the system very first time. The user guidance should be given to such users, those who are accessing your system first time. Then data transmission, how your data is transmitted from one system to another system, that should be again taken care while data design or your system design. And most important part is your data protection. What exactly the data protection is? Data protection mainly deals with your data security. Whatever data you are entering in the system, that data should be properly protected, or that data should have proper security, is your data protection. So you need to consider all these things while designing your system. Whenever you are going to design your system, you should focus on how your data should be entered, how your data is going to be displayed, what should be the sequence control on the data, what will be the user guidance, who is going to guide the user, what kind of user guidance you are going to provide, what kind of your document will be there, help document will be there. Everything is under your user guidance. Then you are going to focus on data transmission, how your data is transmitted from one system to another system. Then you will be focusing on the most important part is data protection.